What's up guys? We're back to do another budget deck tech, and today we're going to look at the Ajani Planeswalker deck from the 2019 core set. So if you've never seen this series before, I essentially take a pre-made Planeswalker deck and I see what kind of improvements I can make to it by spending just $10. So I've got to end up with a standard legal deck, and any cards I add have to be from the current set. Before we get started, let's just talk about a few of the changes they made to these Planeswalker decks. So firstly, you only get the one booster pack in the box instead of the two. However, they did reduce the price quite a bit. So I picked these up for about $10 a piece, and that's in Canadian dollars, so that's about $7-8 in US dollars. So they're very affordable now. And with the 2019 core set, they're releasing 5 Planeswalker decks, so one of each color. They're going to be monocolor, so not quite as strong in my opinion, but definitely a lot easier for new players to pick up and just learn. So let's go ahead and give ourselves $10 and let's start creating this deck. Let's start with the lands. So we're going to add 23 planes to this deck. And because it is monocolor, you might be able to get away with 22 or 21, but I feel like 23 is a good solid number here. We're obviously going to leave our Planeswalker in the deck, and we're going to try to build our deck around this guy. So he lets you gain life, plus he puts counters on your creatures, so we're just going to keep that in mind as we're building the deck. Now, because we're only adding cards from the current deck, and we're only focusing on the one color, there aren't going to be a ton of options. But there was one card that really stuck out to me, and that was Ajani's Pridemate. This is a 2/2 creature for 2 mana, and it gets a +1/+1 counter every time you gain life. Now, lucky for us, our Planeswalker lets us gain life, plus there's a ton of white cards that let you gain life. So the deck currently comes with 2 of these. We're going to add 2 more at 50 cents a piece. And then to help us gain more life, we're going to add 3 copies of Fountain of Renewal. This card costs $1 a piece, it's super cheap to cast, and it lets you gain life every turn. And then we're going to add 2 copies of Ajani's Welcome. So this is an enchantment, and it lets you gain life every time you cast a creature spell. So these cards go for 75 cents a piece. So if everything works out well, we'll get a couple Pridemates out early, and then use the previous cards to pump them up. Next up, we're adding a full playset of Suspicious Bookcase. So this is an artifact creature, it's a wall, however it has a really nice ability. If you tap it in 3 mana, then one of your creatures can't be blocked. These guys go for 25 cents a piece, and they're going to be a great addition to the deck to use on our Pridemates. And then we got a full playset of Daybreak Chaplain. So this is a really good early blocker. It's a 1/3 for 2 mana, but the nice thing about it is it has lifelink, so another great way for us to gain life. So we're adding a full playset of these guys at 15 cents a piece. Next up, we're going to add a few flying creatures to this deck. So up first is a full playset of Herald of Faith. This is a 4/3 flying angel for 5 mana, and whenever it attacks, you gain 2 life. So the deck currently came with 2 of them, we're going to add 2 more at 25 cents a piece. And we're going to leave in 2 copies of Silverbeak Griffin. This is a 2/2 flying creature for 2 mana, not much else to say there. And we're also going to leave in our biggest flying creature, that is Sierra's Guardian. This is a 5/5 flying angel. It's a little bit expensive to cast at 6 mana, but it has vigilance and it gives all your other creatures vigilance as well. And so that's all we have for creatures. So I'm being a little bit risky here. We're only running 15 creatures in the deck, but this next card should really help us out with that. We are adding a full playset of Arcane Encyclopedia. So this card costs 25 cents a piece, and it lets you draw an additional card if you have 3 mana to spare. So hopefully with this card we'll be drawing 2-3 cards a turn, and so the lack of creatures isn't really going to hurt us in the long run. We are adding 2 copies of Inspired Charge to the deck. So this is a really nice way to just boost your creatures up if you make an attack. So the deck currently came with 1, we're adding 1 more at 15 cents. And then we've got 2 copies of Invoke the Divine. This card lets you get rid of an artifact or enchantment, plus it lets you gain life, so 2 of these at 15 cents a piece. And then we've got 2 copies of Make a Stand. So this is an instant, makes all of your creatures indestructible. Really nice thing to play in case your opponent tries to take out a bunch of your creatures. And last but not least, we've got 2 copies of Take Vengeance. So just a cheap way to take out a tapped creature of your opponent's. So 2 copies here at 15 cents a piece. And there we have it. So that is our mono white, hopefully improved Planeswalker deck. If you're not feeling super risky, definitely add a few more creatures to this deck. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Maybe it gave you a few ideas for a deck you might want to build. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.